Yeah, so part of what people do, and whoever's listening to this, start thinking up of some business ideas. If you have ever thought it might be cool to develop something like that, get those brain juices going. But yeah, so everybody votes on the top 10 ideas, and then part of when you're explaining your idea is what you need.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever you may be listening, and welcome to Latitude, the 43 North podcast. I'm your host, Nate Benson, Director of Media and Public Relations here at 43 North, and this is episode 72, and we're talking about Startup Weekend. What is Startup Weekend? Well, you're going to have to listen to the podcast to find out, but in a nutshell, it's one of the best weekends in the Buffalo startup ecosystem. Happens every year. It's the 8th annual Buffalo Startup Weekend. It's presented by Techstars, and we have a litany of sponsors, which we'll get into in the show. So this week we're talking to Thea and David, two of the organizers, and full disclosure, I'm one of the organizers as well, but it's not about me. It's about Startup Weekend. And Thea and David are going to go into great detail about what you can expect at Startup Weekend this year, why you should register for Startup Weekend, and hey, you need to listen to the end of the show because I'm going to tell you how you can save 40% on your registration. Now, granted, registration is not that expensive, but hey, I'm willing to throw a little promo code out there so you can save 40%, but you got to listen to the end of the show. So let's not waste another minute with me and get right into this week's episode about Startup Weekend with Thea and David. Thea and David, how are you guys today?
Good, how are you?
Great. Very enthusiastic, clearly.
As you were saying before the show, this is as exciting as you can get, unless you're laughing.
Exactly.
All right, so for those who don't know you each respectively, why don't you give us all a quick rundown of who you are, what you do, and why you're here?
Okay, I'll go first. Yeah, sure. So my name's David Brenner. I was kind of went to high school. I went to high school in Eden, New York. Lived all over the country before that, mostly on the East Coast.
Corn capital of Erie County.
Exactly, the Corn Festival is what it's known for.
And drive your tractor to the school day in high school. I covered that in news. It was fantastic.
I didn't get to participate, but many of my friends did. Didn't have a tractor. So I went to Eden High School. I went to RIT, studied computer engineering, worked for a lot of really big semiconductor companies, and one of those was IBM in Poughkeepsie, New York. Not a huge fan of Poughkeepsie personally, so I went back to grad school at RIT, and that's when I heard that Buffalo had a startup scene. And I met my co-founder, Oscar, and I started a business called Thimble, where we sell a subscription to teach people electronics, how to code, how to become engineers, all that kind of stuff. And my whole introduction to all the startup scene in Buffalo was kind of through Startup Weekend, actually. So that's why I'm here.
I don't want to pat myself on the back, but if I recall, I'm fairly certain I did the first news story about Thimble back in January 2014.
You absolutely did, and I think it was in this very room.
Time flies. Thea, what's up? Who are you?
Oh man, where to begin? Thea Venerianu. I hail from New York City. I went to school in Binghamton, went to school to be a teacher, decided not to do that. Kind of similar to David, I've moved around a bunch to live in different cities in the U.S., and then I came back to Buffalo. So I started a company with the founder, Ben Sayers, Trade Show Stars. We do what is basically sales training for companies that go to trade shows. So I've always had like an interest in startups. Anything entrepreneurial has always tickled my fancy. And the startup scene, I didn't really realize that it was as big as it was. And then I had heard about Startup Weekend, so I decided to check it out last year, and I really, really liked it.
And that is why we're here this week, folks, because the two of you, and myself included, are on the organizing committee of Startup Weekend Buffalo 2018. Is that correct?
You bet.
No, that's the announcement. No, just kidding. That's correct.
So a little bit, I mean, I think, David, you've got some more context, more than anyone in the room, about kind of the origins of Startup Weekend Buffalo.
Yeah, so I don't know the entire origin history, so I'm definitely not a historian
Totally.
by
No
any
one's gonna
means,
check it.
but kind of the original crowd, included some people like Dan Giganti, Dan Magnashevsky, John Spitz, Steve Poland, those kind of, people that had their hands in Z80 and all sorts of other major organizations kind of that started and established the startup scene within Buffalo. And I think John Spitz was kind of the ringleader of it, looked around and said, hey, there's this great thing that's been happening in other cities. We should have it in Buffalo. Applied and got some support from, his group. And they held the first one. I think this year is the 8th Startup Weekend. So it's been going for quite a while now.
Yeah, and huge thanks and props to those guys. And I know we're missing some folks from kind of that original core coffee group who kind of started so much in Buffalo, but certainly everybody played a vital role in that. So what was your experience? You mentioned you did Startup Weekend for the first time last year. Why did you get involved, and what was your takeaway from the weekend?
So originally I showed up on Friday just to see what the structure was like and who would show up to it, and I didn't really plan on being part of any of the groups, but it was a really fun environment Friday night, and the ideas were pretty good. There was a couple groups that I wanted to be a part of, and then one kind of disbanded, and then I wound up staying the entire weekend with one group. So what was originally just going to be like an hour or two on a Friday night wound up being the whole weekend, and then I liked it so much I offered to organize it this year. But I loved it. The biggest thing I really was impressed by was the caliber of the coaching on Saturday. I just thought it was so cool that qualified people with good advice dedicated so much of their time for free to answer any question that any group had of them, which I thought was amazing. So I was like, I would love to be a part of something like that.
And Dave, you participated in your first Startup Weekend many years ago, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the year. I think it was
1948.
maybe 20.
Yeah.
Not quite that long. Maybe 2014, maybe 2015.
And why did you get involved?
So I always felt like a little bit of an outsider to all of this startup stuff. When I was at RIT, I participated in a competition called IRT 48, which has a pretty similar structure, but it was student run. There was no money, no big prizes or anything, but it was same format. You have 48 hours to make a business and a website and an MVP and prove out you can get customers. And I always liked that, and I actually won that competition the first year that I was at school. So I was looking for that elsewhere, and I've heard about Z80 Labs, and I was excited by that, but didn't know how to access it. I heard about Dig, but didn't know what it was. So when I saw that, this was kind of an entryway into the startup community of Buffalo and a way to meet all these people that I read about and feel like I'm part of that community finally. That's why I signed up.
So fast forward now to this year, the two of you are part of the organizing committee. Why roll your sleeves up, so to speak, and get involved in the volunteering? I know you guys have been at this since the end of last year, pretty much. With the planning and volunteer.
I think we started in November.
Yeah, right after there was a month of gap, and then back at it, right?
Yep.
So why get involved in that regard?
Again, to go back to the coaches, I was like, if those guys can dedicate time to sitting down with these teams, how hard could it be for me to, dedicate an hour or two, a few, every month to helping organize it? Same thing, everybody's so accessible, and everyone's very welcoming and nice when you go to these things, and so willing to help and offer good advice that I just really wanted to be a part of something like that. So it's been fun.
Yeah, for me, it's just something that I just felt like this event needs to happen for Buffalo startup community to continue to grow. Mm-hmm. We do target some college students to make sure that they know that there's a scene in Buffalo, and I think that's a really important thing to keep that talent in Buffalo. Obviously, the brain drain and all that kind of stuff is something we've heard about for a while. So, yeah, it's good to get these top-tier talent from the top-tier schools that we have right in our backyard to recognize that they can connect with the community here. And, yeah, I had so much fun that I thought the event should continue. And some of those kind of OG crowd of people were, they have their own businesses that they're running, and they just can't continue to stay that involved. So it's time.
Small companies, you may have heard of AC Auctions,
Yeah.
Pictures,
1980s, all those.
Ideas,
Yeah.
Not busy at all.
CA Labs. Yeah. So it's good to, pass it on to the next generation of people and get everyone
Sure.
on the same page. And
So how does it work? Walk me through what the weekend is like. I'm a college kid with an idea, and I want to pitch it to the crowd. So I sign up for Startup Weekend. What then? What next?
yeah, so this year it's September 14th through 16th, Friday through Sunday. So you show up Friday around 5:30, I think it starts, and we have a little bit of networking, and we go through a little bit of kind of icebreaker type activities that are meant to get you comfortable pitching in front of a crowd.
Where
So
did we held this year? I know historically it's been at Dig and some other locations, but it's changed location this year.
yeah, this year we're holding at UB South Campus at Hayes Hall. It's a really beautiful building. It's a School of Architecture, obviously really amazing, really beautiful building.
Yeah, they didn't sleep on the architecture aspect
Yeah.
of making it look nice. So that's going to be exciting. I really liked that on Friday night, too. They do create a business idea from two kind of disparate ideas, and how do you connect the two? And I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, there's this moment where you just kind of throw words onto a wall and
Yeah.
see what sticks, and you come up with something as part of the icebreaker, and you just kind of oh, Nate's nacho stand, perfect, wonderful.
Only people named Nate can work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we go through that to kind of get everyone comfortable with each other, meet each other, and talking about their pitches. So you're allowed to bring an idea. Hopefully you haven't worked on that idea before.
Don't work
And-
on it beforehand.
Yeah, don't work on
Yeah.
it before. And you show up and you pitch your idea. So we go through everyone that wants to pitch. You don't have to pitch, but it's very, very encouraged. Even if you think your idea is not all that great, it's good experience, public speaking experience.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gets a number. We put the signs up all around the room, and we run through the pitches and the business ideas again, just as a recap, and then everyone votes on their top ideas.
And by 9, 10 o'clock, depending on how well the networking goes, but by 9, 10 o'clock, everyone's kind of broken into teams and working on one of many ideas happening.
Yeah, so part of what people do, and whoever's listening to this, start thinking up of some business ideas. If you have ever thought it might be cool to develop something like that, get those brain juices going. But yeah, so everybody votes on the top 10 ideas, and then part of when you're explaining your idea is what you need. So if you're not an expert at a marketing, or you don't know the first thing about software development or how to build out an app or whatever, how to build a website, how to do a prototype, that's fine. There's plenty of talent that show up on Friday night that can help you with that. So that's part of what you that's part of your ask. And then on Friday night, whatever ideas you are interested in as an attendee, you pair up with a group and you bring whatever background or skill that you have.
And it's completely okay if you don't have any skills, but you just have an idea.
That's why I showed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, there's actually been quite a few startups in the community that have germinated from Startup Weekend. I know Heads Up Display is one of them. I'm totally blanking on the rest, but I know there's been many.
Yeah, it would be nice if I had that list right in front of me. But
Full disclosure, we love to come unprepared for
Yeah.
the podcast. I mean,
I intentionally.
I preach, don't
Yeah.
come in with anything prepared. Was Buffalo
was it-
Automation one of them, too?
Buffalo Automation Group was one of them. Driver Watchdog.
Yeah.
What was the one that you worked on last year? Did that?
Oh, that was Dan's. It was originally called Green Napkin. I think it's called Tonight's Choice now.
Yeah.
Did 3 a.m. come out of that, too?
That one I'm not sure about. But I do know that last year the winners, Third Story, Enter
Yep.
T,
And Take It All.
Take It All.
Yeah.
I know that Third Story still is around and growing and
Yeah.
kicking and stuff. I'm pretty sure Enter T is as well. So
So at the end of that, and what I'm trying to say here is some legitimate businesses can start from this, which is
Yeah.
obviously a great, ambitious goal. I think all of us are looking to achieve.
yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest goal that I personally have for the competition is the education piece. So, even if all of this sounds intimidating to you, but you've always had an interest in it, this is the event to get your feet wet, to get there, show up and, kind of in a controlled environment, test the waters for a few are actually interested in the whole entrepreneurship lifestyle and launching a business.
I'm actually just getting, it's funny, I sent out a quick message, you guys being here jotted my memory to ask all the 43 North winners, and like 5 of them just said, oh, I love Startup Weekend. I'm in. So
Nice.
Oh, perfect.
So, so we kind of talked about, the nexus of everything weekend. What happens on that last day?
Yeah, so the last day we have pitches, so everyone gets
They work through the weekend, kind of figure out who their clients could be, and then it's pitch day on Sunday.
right. So you put together all your MVP and your slide deck and show that you have validated your product with some customers, and then you get on stage and you pitch to a panel of judges.
Mm-hmm. So you pitch. So it's kind of, I think you get 3 minutes to pitch your idea, and then 1 minute for Q&A from the judge, like 1 minute per judge for Q&A. And then the judges deliberate, and then there's a winner selected. We got some pretty cool prizes this year. That's been a big focus of mine. So there's the top 3 teams, and from there, we're also working on some stuff like to continue the mentoring and development of the business idea after Startup Weekend, which is going to be pretty exciting. I'm not sure if we've done that before. I want to say no, but we are doing it this year. So for any entrepreneurs that are listening, if you would like to volunteer some time to mentor some of these winners, they can use whatever advice you have, I'm sure. So
and that's a perfect segue into my next topic. How can people get involved? So what are we looking for? We're obviously looking for people to come and participate in the weekend just as participants, but obviously we have some other needs as well.
Yep. So we have a need for mentors right now. So, I guess we could use as many mentors as possible. So anyone who's in the community who has been part of a startup or has run multiple startups or has advised startups, we would love to have you as a mentor / coach. We could also use, what's the other one you said? Oh, attendees. Mm-hmm. We could use attendees too.
Yeah, we definitely need attendees. If we have more mentors than attendees, we might be in
volunteers, anyone who kind of wants to be there for the whole weekend, or not even the whole weekend, but we're not going to have one person working 52 hours, I don't think.
I think David did require it.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the rest of that?
Well, and some of the perks of helping, one of the things that I've always noticed about Startup Weekend is some high quality food all weekend.
Ooh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's so you don't have to worry, because we're obviously people are working quite hard, long hours in the space. So one of the perks is a seemingly endless supply of quality food.
Snacks, food, coffee, nut milk, you name it, we've got. Working on the
milk and nut milk, all the milk you could possibly need.
Working on the beer situation. Yeah, so if you're dedicating your whole weekend to helping build out a business idea to somebody who maybe you've never met before, the least we can do is offer some food and drink for that. So it's always catered. Other benefits, it's just great exposure.
Yeah.
I have a sales background, but I didn't really know that much about developing a website or how to create, how to build out a prototype for an app or a prototype of a product. You're going to learn no matter what. Worst case scenario is you learn something.
You're going to learn something. You're going to meet somebody. You're going to make new friends, new connections. The thing about a startup ecosystem is the network, and I might not have all the answers for everything, but I might know the person with the answers.
Yep.
So when startups come to me at 43 North or for anything else I'm doing, I'm like, oh, I can't do that, but I know who can. Oh, I met him at Startup Weekend, or he helped me organize Startup Weekend, or she helped me organize Startup Weekend. I can connect people, to keep this ecosystem growing. That's really, I think, fundamentally what this Startup Weekend program is all about. Is just it's a fun, exciting event that I know people look forward to every single year, just because it gets the folks from the startup community together.
Yeah, it's fun. It's accessible. You learn something. And everyone's kind of, at the end of the day, has the same end goal, which is to help develop Buffalo. You're there because you care about the city and you want to help the startup community. So everyone's more than willing to, roll up their sleeves and show up and help these new businesses.
Now, you mentioned prizes. Are we able to talk about the prizes yet?
Nate, what do you think, Dave?
Yeah,
we can some prizes.
We can reveal some of it at least.
Sure, you go first.
All right. Well,
coffee. That's the quality prize.
Yeah,
that's the top prize.
You can feel the chemistry in the room here. It'll-
And it's worthwhile. No, in all seriousness.
Yeah, I mean, so Thea kind of made a point earlier that we're trying to make sure that the businesses have kind of milestones that they can continue on with. We're not allowed to give cash prizes, but we have some pretty great service-based prizes. So the one that I'm most excited about, we partner with Launch New York. So we'll have an EIR from Entrepreneur in Residence from Launch New York there the day of the event, and also they've agreed to provide some mentoring after the event. Culligan.
For those who don't know, Launch, or I'm sure most people know, Launch New York is a vital, startup service. Not just in Buffalo, but across Western New York and all of New York City.
All of New York, yeah.
They
Thank you,
provide-
Marnie.
Yeah, Marnie Levine is a fantastic steward of the startup scene, and we're very thankful for her and her organization. Especially with early stage startups. I know a lot of companies come to 43 North with their idea, and they're just not quite ready for that type of investment. Launch New York is there, with the mentorship and the early seed rounds, early funding rather, and they do a fantastic job for the early stage startups in Western New York.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were very helpful for
Yeah.
Thimble, as a personal example.
Yeah, and you guys are doing great now.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
believe inching your way through the semifinals of 43 North, from what I understand.
There you go.
ooh.
I'm pretty excited about that too.
Yeah. What else? We got Culligan Law. They're
yeah,
doing
so-
some consulting
Yep.
as a prize.
Yeah, so they're doing $2,500 in-kind service.
Yeah.
For, $2,500 worth of legal advice, legal mentorship, whatever you need. So if you want to actually formalize your company properly, Matthew Pelkey over there is going to help us out with all the legal needs you might have, at least early on. And $2,500 for any startup is massive.
Especially in advice. I really think that one of the good things about not offering a cash prize is X amount of dollars is X amount of dollars. There's not a lot of ways you can spend that, but to get consulting advice or to get a resource or to get time with somebody who knows what they're talking about and knows how to help you, I think that's more valuable than cash prizes sometimes, because you can't really put a value on how that might help you later. We want to do what do we call it? A hackathon or a boot camp after the event, so that these winners can sit down with potential investors, mentors, get the next steps ready for their businesses. So you can go off the momentum of winning Startup Weekend. And same thing, making goalposts for a business, do have this thought out by this time to get consulting and advice from so-and-so mentor. What else we got? Oh, we're doing a lot of education, a lot of books.
Yes.
Get ready, get
We're
excited.
writing books.
Yeah.
Who are some of the top authors we're offering? In terms of
Oh my God. I want to just give everybody a copy of The Personal MBA. I love that book. I think it's great.
I'm a big fan of Startup Communities by Brad Feld. I've read that cover to cover a few times, and just fantastic insight in how Boulder, Colorado is built out as the startup hub it is now. I mean, they've got, Google has offices there, Facebook, I believe, Twitter. There's massive companies that have offices out of Boulder, and, Brad Feld was the designer of that whole ecosystem, essentially, and other people, but Brad was the main driver of that, and I just think that's a fantastic book as well.
I feel the same way about the lean startup. Being an engineer, it's kind of like applied science, hypothesis and scientific method applied to your business. It's great.
So,
Just a couple of titles you can expect.
That's right.
Yep.
And I think that we'll keep it there. There's other prizes that we're working through and figuring out. But I think the big thing now is, how do people sign up?
That's a great question. So we have So we have an Eventbrite page. You are welcome to Google Buffalo Startup Weekend 2018. The Eventbrite page is going to be at least the second link that comes up. We are doing early bird pricing until September 1st, so that is literally half off of any ticket. We've just broken it down based on like, what is it, coders?
Yeah, designer, developer, and business.
Yeah, just so that we have an idea of the demographic of things. But everything is half off right now until, what is it, September 1st?
Yep.
Fire sale. On the front end of it.
Take it, yeah, yeah.
Normally you start out with the high price. We were like, no, slash the price at the beginning.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem we're trying to solve with that is I'm not sure if it's being an entrepreneur or being in school or what it is, but every year we have the most signups like the week of, the day before the event. So we're trying to, it would help us out a lot to predict in terms of food and T-shirts and all of that if we can get registrations in advance.
And that's another thing, everyone who participates gets the legendary Buffalo Startup Weekend T-shirt, as Dave's wearing right now.
Of course.
Yeah, I should have brought mine from last year. Yeah, we have really nice T-shirts. They're going to be great.
7 full delicious meals.
7, folks. Not
Benefits
7.
and discounts
Count
from
'em.
our global partners, one-on-one time with amazing mentors, a new network of developers, designers, entrepreneurs like you, all the internet and coffee you can consume, and a T-shirt. I mean, what else could you want?
And a T-shirt. Show up with no shirt, leave with a shirt.
And I think, I'll go back to the prizes for a minute. The top winner of the of Startup Weekend does get an invite to Buffalo's largest tech podcast.
Oh.
There you go.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I think it's large. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure it is, but I think it is. There's not many. So I think I'm in good company.
Nice.
So no, that's obviously one of the perks too.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Western New York Venture Association membership,
Yeah.
and 110 Capital is another one of our sponsors. Janae Pitts is
They're
one of the
always looking
judges.
for hardware.
And and she's going to offer, I think it's 2 hours of mentorship. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's 4. I don't remember exactly, but
I think it's 2.
yeah, 2 hours of
I think we
mentorship.
just upped it on this podcast
Yeah.
publicly. So
Thank
there
you.
go.
Gonna hold our feet
Oh,
to the fire.
Dig, right? We have a co-working space available for the winners at Dig,
Yep.
which is
Monday
going
through Friday during office hours, they're going to allow a desk space for the winners. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, we put a lot of work this year into the prize package, so to make it meaningful and also enticing. So
We're providing the folks you need to talk to get your startup off the ground, the space you need to get your startup off the ground. So really,
The
there isn't
guidance.
there isn't the guidance. There isn't an excuse why some of these companies participating this in Startup Weekend couldn't actually 2-3 years down the road be future 43 North winners.
yeah, and since I think we've mentioned almost all of our sponsors, our presenting sponsor this year is Viaduct.
Oh yes, couldn't do this without Viaduct.
Yeah, so they offer recruiting services for startups specifically. So if you need, if you come out of the weekend and you're able to prove that you have a good product with customers, and the only thing you need is some talent, I'm sure they'd be happy to consult with you and help you find the talent that you need.
Yeah, that's a huge resource for a lot of companies. So if you need, really anyone, that's what they do is they find talent and then they
Yeah.
connect them with the right companies.
I know a lot of Forestry North winners certainly use staffing folks like Viaduct, and it's vital for their operations. 'Cause
Yeah.
they don't- startup communities are tight, but they don't know everybody. You certainly don't know who's kind of in the shadows, so to speak, with skills you don't even know about. So that's services like Viaduct are vital for startup ecosystem.
Yeah, I'd say similar. If you're coming to the event and you have a good time, but you're ultimately just looking for a job, it's a good connector to get involved in some of these 43 North companies or other Buffalo area startup companies.
So what more can we say to convince you to register for Startup Weekend? I feel like we've pitched the hell out of it, guys. I think we've done our duty, and now it's up to you guys, the listeners. Head on over, Google search rather, Buffalo Startup Weekend. You'll come across our Eventbrite page, and we'll be posting it out through 43 North social media channels as well, but link directly. I'll be posting a promo code so you guys can get that nice discount as well. And it's up to you guys now. You got to register. Any final words from Thea and David?
Ooh, that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of
No,
pressure.
I don't
That's
know.
final word.
I don't think so.
Show up. It's definitely worth it if you're thinking about a business idea or just how to get involved in the community. This was really the event that kind of unlocked the whole community for me and
I would
allowed
agree
me to
with
start
that.
my
Yeah.
business. So show up.
Yeah. All right. Again, it's up to you guys now. We'll head on over to the Eventbrite page. Sign up and enjoy a hell of a weekend, September 14th, 15th, and 16th for Buffalo Startup Weekend 2018. David and Thea, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. We'll catch up with you in Startup Weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for having us.
I want to thank Thea and David for joining me on the podcast this weekend. And now, the big reveal. How can you save 40% on Buffalo Startup Weekend 2018? Head on over to communities.techstars.com/USA/Buffalo to register and use the promo code NATE to get 40% off. That's NATE. And you can get 40% off. Hold on, 40%? Have we all gone mad? I think so, Peter, because that's not all. We have a litany of prizes, books, nearly unlimited food and drink that weekend, and your very own Startup Weekend t-shirt, and enough new friends to last a lifetime. So join us on September 14th through 16th at Hayes Hall at UB South Campus for Buffalo Startup Weekend 2018. Use the promo code NATE when you register and save yourself 40%. I want to thank so much for everyone who subscribes to this podcast, and head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review so that, hey, more people can find this show and enjoy what we're doing here in Buffalo. For 43 North, I'm Nate Benson, and we'll see you at the next one.